What's going on, everyone, and welcome to the Chance Talks Business podcast, where we help small and medium-sized businesses reach their full potential. Today, we're going to be talking about an 11-step process on how to overcome setbacks in your business. Now, as a business owner, you're going to face many setbacks in your business. You're going to have employees that quit. You're going to have clients that are no longer your clients. You're going to have financial situations that you run into that you're going to have to overcome. You're going to run into things that are out of your control that just pop up here and there. So you're going to have to understand and be able to overcome those failures. I've already experienced many setbacks. I wouldn't necessarily call them failures because I don't believe that you fail until you quit. So as long as you're growing, which we'll talk about a little later, as long as you're growing in your business, then you're not failing if you're learning from something. So I always call these setbacks, or if you want to be even more positive about it, call them learning opportunities, because that's what they really are. Being in business is a journey. You go through it, you learn things as you go. Most people don't have someone that's kind of mentoring them, or a lot of people's not part of a family business. Most of the millionaires in the world today are first generation millionaires. So they've had to find ways to learn in certain situations. And I mean, a lot of them had mentors. Mentors are very important, but some people in the beginning don't have that luxury of having a mentor, or they might not know to find a mentor, which I'm going to get into a video about that in the near future as well. But today, I want to talk about this 11-step process on how to overcome setbacks in your business. First, you have to accept responsibility. You have to tell yourself, and you have to know that everything that happens to you in your business, it may not be in your control, but you have to accept that you're the one that's responsible for that. If one of your employees goes off on a client and, just starts yelling at them, cussing them out, is being disrespectful, you have to accept responsibility for that employee that you have. You have to make that right with your client. And maybe your employee was right and your client was wrong. You have to accept responsibility for that situation, and you have to work that out. If you get in your mind that you are responsible and that you accept responsibility for everything that happens in your business, that is a powerful mind shift, because then things don't always happen to you. You're able to control the situation, and sometimes things might happen that are out of your control. The weather, like I said earlier, people just quitting out of the blue, but there's a reason. If it's someone quitting or a client leaving, usually there's a reason behind that, and it's not always something that you can control, but a lot of times it is if you would have just done something differently. So that's kind of what this process that I'm going to talk to you about today will help with. But first, you have to accept responsibility, and you have to know that you are in control and that you're able to fix that situation, whatever it may be. You have to analyze whatever that setback is. You have to be able to sit down. This is step number 2. Sit down and see what went wrong here. How could I have done this differently? What were the steps that led up to this situation happening? How can I prevent it again? Just sit down and analyze the setback, what caused it, and what you can do to prevent it in the future. And then you need to reframe the narrative. Reframe what is going on. Sometimes what may seem like a failure or a setback is actually something that's positive for your business. Maybe you lost an important client, but maybe that client is someone who takes up a whole lot more of your time, and you're able to replace that client with 3 clients that are just better clients, or an employee might have left, and that employee could have been telling other employees bad things about your business, or just spreading a negative environment or negative mindset and creating a negative environment inside your workplace. So you may be able to replace that employee, even though they've done a whole lot. You may be able to replace that employee with someone who's more positive, and it boosts the whole morale and the productivity of your whole office or your whole warehouse or whatever. So you have to think about things in a positive way, because they're going to happen to you. So you need to, what I always try to do is look at the situation and say, what am I supposed to learn from this situation? That's how I reframe it. Instead of saying, this happened to me, or, I'll be honest, I've lost clients in the past because maybe I wasn't ready for that client at the time, and just some things just happen. You lose clients from time to time. And what I did was, as I went through this process and I looked and saw where I made the mistakes and where I could be better, but I reframed it as, this is a learning opportunity. Whenever I have setbacks, those are learning opportunities and opportunities for me to grow as a person and as a business. So next, you have to seek feedback. Talk to the parties involved. If it's, I'm using the example of a client that leaves, because that's something that usually happens to all of us at some point in time. But talk to that client. Ask that client, what could I have done better? How did I not meet your expectations? What could I have done to keep you as a client? And be genuine about it. Don't go in there with any kind of ulterior motives, trying to sign the client back or anything like that. If that does happen, and if it happens later in the future, that's great. But go in there and genuinely try to understand where your client is coming from, and seek out an answer on what you could have done better. Talk to your employees. Talk to, if your employees are having issues with the client, or they're having issues amongst themselves, get to the bottom of it. Seek the feedback. Hey, what can we do here? If you're having employees leaving, what can we do here to make you want to stay as an employee? Because you're a great employee, we want to keep you. Or if you're having a bunch of bad employees, get feedback from the hiring department. Like, what are we doing here? How are we hiring 10 people, but then 9 of them aren't working out? Like, what are we doing here? Get feedback from them. Get feedback from maybe the people are good employees and they're just leaving because there's bad management in place. You never know, what the issue is if you don't get feedback and seek feedback to make yourself better. And then once you get that feedback, you need to adapt and pivot and change. Don't be so hard-headed and set in one way that you're not willing to adapt and pivot to something else. You have to, be adaptive, and you have to be willing to take that feedback and implement new strategies and new processes that will make sure that those situations don't happen again, or at least limits them substantially, so that you're not facing the same problems over and over and over. Something else that you have to do after that happens, which kind of goes along with adapt and pivot, is strengthen your skills and knowledge. So you may have to learn a new way of doing something, or new process. You need to look at what other companies are doing. Sit down and talk with, your brain trust within your company, those that are around you that are upper management, or even the employees. It's always, for me, it's always to go closest to the source. So, like, I come from the world of shipping and receiving and distribution. So, to me, I would always think, if I was a manager of a warehouse, I would want to go, if I was having issues in the shipping department, I'm not going to talk to the shipping manager. I want to go talk to the person who's shipping the boxes and finding out, hey, is there something here that we can do and something that we can figure out that will make your job easier? Is there something that we can do that will make your job more productive? Is there something that, if you get it right from them and you're going to the source, they might be able to give you some insight that maybe the manager don't know, because maybe the manager never been in that position before. So you have to go, the closer you can get to the source, I believe, the faster and the more information you'll have to fix that problem. So strengthen your skills and your knowledge, and do the best that you can to learn everything you can about why a problem is happening, and then make those changes around it, adapt, pivot, all that. And then you need to build resiliency. And we talked about that in the past video. One of the traits of a successful business owner is resiliency. You have to be able to bounce back and just know that this stuff happens to everybody. It's not exclusive to you. It's happened to every business owner that's ever owned a business. And if you're experiencing a situation, you're probably not the first. I don't believe there's really any unique situation that you're going to experience. There may be things that are actually unique to your industry, but the overall problem is going to be something that someone has faced and likely overcome in the past. So you have to be resilient, and just don't take things too personal. I know when I first started my business, any bad feedback that I had or any constructive criticism, it just killed me. Like, I had such high expectations for myself, and you should, but I had such high expectations for myself and my business that I didn't want to hear negative comments. And that should be the goal, but you should realize the reality of it is that you're going to get negative feedback from time to time. And that's just, if you look at it, you reframe it as a good thing, then it's something that you don't want to happen all the time. But if you are failing on something, or you're not delivering on something, me as a business owner now, I would rather know that I'm not delivering on that than I would thinking that I'm delivering on it, but the client not be happy, or thinking that my employee is happy when they're really not. So I think it's a good thing, and it's helped me build resiliency over the years by, having negative feedback or constructive criticism even, that has helped me become more resilient. Step 8 is set clear objectives. You need to, whenever you're getting ready to adapt and pivot and all that, you need to set clear objectives after you do all that, and be able to measure those objectives and see where you're at as far as how far have you come along with your new processes. And you need to set very clear objectives on what you want to accomplish from this process, and follow that and see where you're at along the process, as far as have you become better at doing what it is that you wanted to be better at, and how close are you to being better? How much better are you? Set clear goals and objectives on what you want the outcome to be. And then, if you have a setback, usually there's something that's easy or simple for you to do to get a simple win, an easy win. Whether that's, if you're having issues with employees leaving, then do a team building exercise. Go out for a team building day and just have a small win with your group. Give your group something to, enjoy. Don't just buy them pizza, but take them out. Give out some bonuses to the people that are doing really good in your company. Get some small wins. Look for, if you lose a client, look for a client to sign. Just do something to get a small win. Make some calls. Reach out to some people. Even if you reach out to 100 people, 100 people aren't going to tell you no or hang up on you. There's going to be someone within that 100 people, especially if it's a warm outreach list. There's going to be some positive that comes about in that. sit down, talk with your managers, talk with your employees, and figure out some better strategies. Just that in itself, that can be a small win. Get you a small win, and that will help you kind of get on your way of overcoming those setbacks. And then avoid repeating the same mistakes. This happens all the time in life. People make the same mistakes over and over. And if you do this process right here, it's going to help you avoid repeating the same mistakes over and over. Because if you're kind of setting out clear objectives, if you're doing all of that, then it's going to keep you from repeating the same mistakes over and over. It's going to happen. It's going to happen to you from time to time. But that just probably means that you didn't assess the situation very clearly. You didn't follow this steps. Basically, you just need to go back through everything and follow these processes and follow these steps. So the last and final step is just stay determined. Business is hard. Being a small and medium-sized business is even harder. I feel like a lot of times much more is expected out of us than bigger corporations. I think that people expect big corporation businesses to not be customer-oriented. They just expect bad service out of them, but they hold small and medium-sized businesses to a higher standard. So you just have to stay determined and know that everything that you've been through, most likely another company has been through. They have. Anything that you're going to face, other companies have faced and overcome. And most of the successful companies in the world have overcome most of the things that shut down other businesses. So you have to look forward and just stay determined and realize that the only time you fail is when you quit. And you can have setbacks, but you can also overcome those setbacks, and you can be better and stronger because of it. So don't let the setbacks get you down. Stay determined. Stay focused on the big goal. This is kind of a bonus tip. You can write your goals down. Write down where you're headed. If you have big setbacks and stuff, just write down your vision for the company, your vision for your life, and where you're headed, and focus on that. Don't focus on the setbacks that just happened. Once those setbacks happen, move on from them, learn from them, and just become a better person and a better business. I appreciate all the love and support that I'm getting from this podcast. Everybody that watches a reel, that watches a YouTube short and comments, whether it's a negative or positive comment, I appreciate all the support, the love, the hate, whatever you want to call it. I appreciate all of it. And yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this process. If you got something out of it, if you didn't, and you just want to watch these videos to make fun of people who are trying to better themselves, feel free to subscribe. If you like the channel, subscribe, share it with someone. Interviews are coming. I know I've said that for all these episodes. I just kind of started this out of nowhere. Just go back and listen to the Just Start podcast. I got this set up for one of my friends and I. We have a podcast that we do, and we set this up for that. And then I just decided, hey, I've been wanting to set up a podcast area, and I did, and I just started. So I'm working on getting the interviews and working on getting all that stuff straightened out, but we'll get it going. And I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch the videos. I hope I provided some value for you, and if you could, just hit that like button. If you're on YouTube, share. If you're listening on an audio platform, subscribe on here, and yeah, we'll catch you on the next one.